So your bass is plugged in, you're ready to record, you've got a track up there. You need to use the input monitor button in the first instance just to check that your bass is sounding right. How it sounds there is exactly as it's going to sound in your recording. Check the gain level on your audio interface just to make sure it isn't distorted or isn't going to be clipping. Do a quick test of recording so it's not too quiet and not running too hot. Then you're ready to record. Once you've got all the takes you want to work with, then you can make choices about your favorite parts or what you want to keep or delete. EQ the edited bass regions, focusing on the bass area, around about 60 to 250 Hz, and depending on the tone of your bass guitar, the lower mids, so that's about 250 to 500 Hz. The tweaks that you make here will be dependent on your style of music. I personally like to double track my bass takes. The reason I do this is to make sure that I can have one range which is specifically focused on actually creating the solid bass foundation for a track, but I also work with usually jazzy kind of guitar and I like to have a good tone, so I work on EQing the lower mid-range frequencies, and my second take will be for working on eliminating the bass frequencies and making the frequencies in the lower mid-range really pop. Once you've EQ'd and the bass is sounding good, then you can use guitar amp emulation to create that specific sound that you're looking for. Once you've got the bass amp style and sound that fits your song, you can further tweak it just so that you're really happy with it. Let's just create a rough balance for all of the instruments in your track. Bass is such a fundamental part of your rhythm section, but it's important not to overpower the other instruments. In many cases, it won't be the lead instrument, but an enhancement, so use this as a guide when considering the volume level. When you have the bass roughly in a good space, use a compressor on the signal to just smooth out the signal's dynamic range. The consistency here is really important. I always use saturation in my bass mix. For me, this thickens out the sound, giving each note a little bit more weight and warmth. Give it a try because many DAWs have these inbuilt now, but I recommend FabFilter's Satin, which I'm using here. Now you're ready to spend those precious hours on your full mix. A little hack I use just to try and help the drums and bass, which are sometimes fighting for space in that lower end, is just to set the panning to 5% to the right. This isn't something that most ears will pick up on, but it just does help in creating that little bit more audio space.